Episode 15. Welcome back to the Power 5 Sports League Proverbs Podcast with Coach Norman and Coach A, where we break down the journey from youth sports to the pros. Whether you're a young athlete, a parent, or just an overall sports fan, you're in the right spot. I'm your host today, MC Mike, and I'm joined along, as always, by two Permian Basin coaching legends, Coach Norman and Coach A. Gentlemen, how we doing?
We're blessed again, blessed in the city, blessed in the field.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Definitely.
Thought you was going to start singing.
We got college football underway. We got NFL underway. We got Power 5 Sports League underway. I mean, fall is upon us. Summer has ended, and we're into a really exciting time for sports throughout the course of the calendar year. But today we're going to be discussing how righteousness is not about flawless living, but about persistence, humility, and the courage to keep going despite repeated struggles. Right. Falling is a part of the human condition, but rising again is the mark of spiritual strength and true faith. But before we get any further, as always, Coach A is going to lead us in today's prayer.
All right, let's pray, man. Father God, thank you for this day. Father, I ask that you be with the families of those that has been enduring hard times, Father God. I ask that you come down, Father, and see about your kids, Father. Allow the Holy Spirit to dwell amongst this world, Father God. And during this time of need, Father, I ask that you reveal yourself, Father. I ask that those that are part of the kingdom building step up, Father God, so those that are non-believers or having doubt, Father God, can see who you are through the works of those that you have put in place, Father God. Father, as we go throughout this podcast and understand that when we fall down, Father, we still get up no matter how many times that happens, Father, because sometimes setbacks are setups, Father. So right now I'm asking for you to set us up so that your will and your glory can prevail, and understand that we win in the end. I pray this in your son's Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
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 Winning in the end.
Yes.
Definitely. And again, it's about the journey. That path is paved for us. We just got to walk it.
Just have to walk it.
Hey, guys. This episode is proudly sponsored by the Kent Companies, fueling our community with integrity, service, and commitment to excellence. From Kent Quick to Kent Car Wash, they've been a driving force in West Texas. Thank you to the Kent Companies for supporting youth sports and the future of our community.
All right, so now we're going to talk about today's Proverb 24:16. Coach Norman, you're up.
Yes, sir. Proverbs 24:16 is from the NIV version. For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, but the wicked stumble when calamity strikes. I think that was a very telling verse, a very what's the word I'm looking for? It struck a little chord with me this week. With all of the things that's been going on in the world today, I think we're gonna have obstacles. We're gonna have things that happen to us, and we're gonna have things that happen in the world also that are devastating, that are demoralizing. All of these things. However, we just we gotta keep the faith, man. We gotta keep our eye on the prize, as the elders would say.
Right.
We got to know whose we are.
I like that.
We got to know whose we are, man, and we're children of God, man, and we got to believe His word, and what He said is true, and what He said is truth, and He said, it is finished, is what He said. And so we see all of these things that's going on, and we think that it's a bad thing. I mean, we know that they're bad things, right, but we think that that's gonna be it, but it's gonna be something, after that. Disruption always follows intention, and right now it's been real disruptive, and in the world. And then, also, within our sports leagues and things of that nature, you have ups and downs. You have all of these things that's happening throughout the season, from many different perspectives, from the perspective of the athlete, from the perspective of the coach, the parents, all of these different things, you getting these different perspectives. And, one thing we talked about earlier, is, everybody didn't win last week.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Everybody didn't win last week, but, through that loss, are you going to learn from it and get better, or are you going to, continue to soak in it and worry about that loss, And I think it's important that we teach these these young kids that, man, you got to keep fighting, man, because these are life lessons that they're learning through the game of football.
Right.
And you're going to have those things that you have to overcome as an adult when you get older. And so, I think this verse was very fitting for this week.
Yeah. I would like to add, although you touched on the real world situations, I think it is great that the word, it talks about the righteous fall 7 times, or understand that we're going to have adversity in life. And, God came down, he left the right hand and sent his son to become man, to walk on this earth. And he endured everything possible. He endured everything possible to kind of corrupt him, but yet he continued to walk, right? And so that's our example, to understand that things in life is going to happen. God never said it was going to be easy sailing or whatnot, but the things that you go through, that it increases your faith, right? Despite what happens, you continue to trust in God, and then in the end, your works that you've done on this earth is going to be able to go through the sacrifices and the fires, so that when you get your heavenly gifts, right? So it's like anything, if it's not worth fighting for or going through a struggle, it's not worth anything. So that I want everybody to understand that when hard times come and you back away from it, that's what it's talking about the wicked stumble, right? So you got to know whose you are, you got to know your ability, and understand that in the end we win. And God didn't tell us that it was going to be smooth sailing. So understand all that, stand 10 toes down, steadfast, and move.
Yeah.
Well, just to sort of recap here, I mean, the timing of this podcast is being recorded about 48 hours after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and obviously about a week or so after some news came out about a young lady on a bus in North Carolina. There's a lot of fear and alertness happening around the country, and then of course this week is the 24th anniversary of 9/11, which rocked the world, and especially this country. And it's hard to find somebody who didn't know somebody who didn't know somebody who was directly impacted on a day like that. But I just want to point out one of the final messages about from Charlie Kirk. And look, I don't know the guy. I never met him. I didn't really follow him. I do know that he was a religious man. He believed in Jesus Christ. He gave his life to Jesus. And one of his final messages that he put out there was, Jesus defeated death so that you could live.
Right.
And it really shows that there is some light at the end of the tunnel, as long as you keep understanding and getting up from the falls that you have. Coach Norman, you mentioned not everybody won last week. But there's an opportunity to sort of bounce back from that. But I'm going to pose a question to you guys, not just from a football perspective, but from life. If there's no risk of failure, does victory still have the same emotional benefit? Like, is it still mean a lot to win if losing is not an option? And I think that's something else to sort of look at when we're examining a proverb like this, because the risk of failure and the understanding that that's still possible allows you to strive and improve and make yourself better when you do end up failing. And, because you definitely want to achieve something that you were not able to achieve. So I guess, my 2 cents on this is you're going to fail. You're going to fall in anything that you do. Okay. Walking up to the plate with nobody on base and hitting a grand slam is not possible, right? You're going to have to go through trials and tribulations in order to get to where you want to get to. And maybe that will just never be enough. But the journey and the absolute experience that you achieve along the way is knowledge that you can help pass down based around that wisdom to future generations and help them understand to possibly get through that hurdle a little bit better. And I think that there's multiple lessons to learn in hindsight on all the things that are happening in this country, in this world, politically, socially, culturally. Me personally, and again, this is me as just a man, a dad, a husband, a guy that wants to just be as best of a person for them in this life.
Yeah.
I feel that there's the way that I get through a lot of these things, and we could talk about 9/11 and the fact that I was a high school student in New York when that went down later. The way that I always sort of dealt with a lot of this is focus on your 4 walls. Make your world a better place. And that is contagious. There are elements of that people will feed off of to help improve their life. If you are so focused on other people's business, you cannot focus on building yours.
Right.
So maybe it's a little selfish. Maybe it's just a different way to look at it. But I have people that depend on me. I have a world that I need to maintain for myself.
Right.
And, if it starts there, it can have residual ripple effects that do impact a larger society.
Right. No, I like that, man. And I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think that's selfish at all. It just depends on how you look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel the same way as far as, focusing on the things that you have to do. People come to me all the time and talk about, what this league is doing, what that league is doing, what's going on over here, what's going on over there. Like, I don't even pay attention to that stuff or worry about those things, because we have to be focused on what we're doing.
Right.
We have to be focused on putting out a good product. We have to be focused on making sure everybody is safe and secure. Those are the things that we have to focus on within our organization.
And we got control over, huh?
And that we focus on the things that we have control over. And to your point, the same should be for you and your family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see it as being selfish, because the reality of it is, if you're doing it with intent to help others in need, if you're doing that, then the things that you want will come. If you're trying to help solve someone else's problem, if you're trying to find a solution for someone that can't find a solution, and you're helping them do that and doing it in the right way or whatnot, then the good things will be coming to you as well. You know what I'm saying? And so I see it as all encompassing. When you say, focusing on what I need to do. Yeah, don't worry about what's going on over there, man. Focus on this right here. I like to say, I have my blinders on and I'm focused. I'm locked in. It's just like we tell the kids, when they out there on the field, do your job,
your assignment.
Do your job. We say, don't try to go over here and make a play over here and well, coach, he didn't do what he was supposed to do, so I ran over there and did this. No, you do your job,
right?
And then it helps the whole of the team.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't see it as being selfish, man, but that was a great point that you made, man.
Man, I like to jump on that too, because that hits home. No different than what my wife always says is that if you don't take care of yourself, if you're sick, how can you help somebody else? Right. And so it goes along with the house. If the house is divided and it's not where it's supposed to be, you can't help anybody else, right? That's why it's very important that the house is strong, the house is in order, so that people can be looking at you for an example, and without even words, you can be ministering to them by what you are doing and them watching your work from afar. Because I guarantee you, people are watching that, right? They're watching that. So I think with the position that I'm in, like I can't fail. And when I do, I have to learn from that and grow from it and understand that as the husband, as the covenant of the house, a distraction that is like that can ruin everything. Can ruin everything, because if the devil or the enemy can get the man of the house, the leader of the house, everything else will fall quickly.
Well, I don't want to throw in more fortune cookies here, but like, nobody's going to love the guy in the mirror more than the guy in the mirror. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's, you got to start with yourself.
Hey, there it is. Me versus me. Yep.
And, to sort of piggyback off of that, if you don't learn how to love yourself, how can you expect other people to love you? Right. And again, that's that sort of trickle down waterfall effect that we see that starts, really with your family. And then outside of that, you can have a series of people who love or hate you or like certain things you do or hate certain things you do. And I think if it all boils down to sort of what we're experiencing this week, the fact that something like this happened and it's having such a big ripple effect is really because, at least the way I see it, and I'm happy to discuss this further, this is a guy who is 31 years old. He's a father of 2 kids, and his whole thing was not being violent, but wanting to talk. And he wanted to talk to people who disagreed with him, not to change their mind, not to sort of make them look ridiculous, but to just get the conversation out there. And if you really want to boil it down, like a lot of the elements that the framework that this country was built on was built around ideas that were not aligned, but sort of came together because that opportunity to discuss it was on the table. Again, whatever he said at the end, we can bat around whether it was right, wrong, and different. That's not the point. The point is that, did this man deserve to lose his life? Did this woman deserve to lose her life on the bus? Did all of these other stories that didn't make these massive headlines deserve to be where they are? The answer is no. And again, this is probably where, to quote the passage here, the wicked were not able to deal with their own calamity. And that's where it struck. And they were not able to rise from that. So what lessons can we learn? What lessons can we take home from a lot of these things and improve our lives and teach the wisdom to our next generations and our kids and our grandkids about how to handle something like this? It's impossible in the world that we live in, man, where nobody saw what happened. And if you didn't have an upside down stomach after seeing something like that, forget again about who it happened to, the fact that it happened. That requires a little bit more of looking at that guy in the mirror and sort of analyzing where your priorities are at, because that is a child of God, regardless on whatever any other variable is. That is a child of God that you saw perish right in front of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of eyes right there.
And that's in to that point, I agree with you on that. And I've, talked about this last 2 to 3 days or whatnot on this subject. And specifically Charlie Kirk or whatnot. Because I watch some of his content and all of that type of stuff. And I don't agree with a whole lot that he says. Some I do agree with. But in reality, man, like we have people that die every day. And to me, like him dying wasn't the significance of, what's been talked about. Like to me, when I saw him getting shot and when I saw, like, it looked fake, to be honest with you. But when I saw it, that's what really hit me. Like just seeing that. And because, in my viewpoints, like I said, we have people that's dying every day, man. Like and nothing is said about them. It's people that didn't know who Charlie Kirk was from Adam, and just so happened that we got all this social media and stuff, and so I knew about him or whatnot, and some other people know about him and all of that. But there's some people that didn't know about him at all, and they was like, "Well, why is everybody all up in arms and all of that type of stuff?" Well, and the thing is, that's really how I felt about it, because it was like, okay, it was another crazy person that went out there and shot somebody, but actually seeing it is what really got to me. And then having my son see it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These kids are being able to see it because they have all this access to all of these things, social media, whatever it is. You got people with cameras and everything. Like we was talking about earlier, they didn't have all of these cameras and stuff back when 9/11 hit, and we had all of these other mass shootings or whatever the case may be. But nowadays, it's so much access and so much. I just feel like people are getting desensitized to these things, and that's just where I see the problem being. Is becoming like the norm. It's becoming the norm, and to me, it didn't start 3 days ago with Charlie Kirk. It's been going on for a long time. It's just now being modified, or eyeglass being put to it now because of all the access that we have. So that
brings up a great question for you both. I mean, I have two very young kids. My oldest is about to turn 6. She does not have access to the internet. She does not have a phone, obviously. I mean, you both have children who can find out a lot of this information before you do. Maybe that's a good conversation. Like, how, as a parent, are you supposed to, and again, to your point, Coach A, like, as the head of the household, how are you supposed to stay ahead of this narrative and explain that to your children? Because I think we can all agree that we're not supposed to see and absorb this information like this, right? Like, we are not programmed for this type of trauma to be sort of infused in our brains all day, every day, whether it's a Charlie Kirk, whether it's a war zone, whether it's a dark, just stupid video that's been circulating or went viral. But this is unfortunately the time that we live in. So, like, how do you pull your kids aside and have a conversation with them that, is sort of after the fact that they've already seen it? I mean, like, you can't prep them for what they're about to see. They probably saw it before you. They talk about it with your friends. I haven't had to deal with that yet, so I want to learn from you guys. Like, how did you go about dealing with this? Again, not just this particular scenario, but in general.
Yeah. Mike, as you were talking, I started reminiscing on growing up with my best friend over on Maple, and John's father, Jerry Norman, who took me in as one of his own sons. He had very strict rules in the house. Didn't understand, because some of those rules took away from the fun that the world was telling us fun. Like, for instance, John, Joe, and Josh, they didn't celebrate Halloween, and we're not going to get into all of that. But talking to Jerry, he said, why would we want to celebrate demons, blood, and all of this stuff that comes with it? Now, it's a whole nother aspect, but that's what he told me. Didn't understand it at the time. Fast forward to some of the games that we played, Mortal Kombat being one.
Yep.
Jerry did not allow that in the house. And I'm finna get John in trouble, Josh in trouble, and Joe in trouble, because they all got me in trouble. There was times that we snuck this game in the house and we would play. But although we would play, the producers of the maker of the games knew that it was too bloody and too gory that you had to put in a code to unlock that side of it.
Yeah.
So society knew that, hey, we can give them this game where they're just fighting, but there's another secret world that we can unlock this code. Yep. Now, fast forward to now, that code has been revealed to everybody. There's no code. I can remember the time when we would go in to buy music or whatnot. And what was the sticker? What did it have on there?
Yeah.
Parent advisory.
Yes, and you couldn't buy it unless your parent was with you.
Yep.
Same with age, same with adult stickers, I call them. Yep. Now you see kids at a much younger age with these adult stickers. And so now as a parent, when everything is out front, everything is just plastered on the TV screen, one of the conversations I have to have with my kids is that this is not normal. You guys shouldn't be viewing this, and this is not okay to see a man die. Like seeing a person die in real life, like it does something to your soul. I was there when my grandfather passed away, and it took everything out of me. But these kids are seeing it on video games. They're hearing about it. They're playing these games, and then they're also seeing it. And it has solely desensitized everybody. One last thing, and I'm gonna we'll move on. I remember when the Phases of Death,
boy, I was just talking about that the other day.
We're in Radio Shack, and it was not Radio Shack, Blockbusters.
Yeah, it was Blockbusters. Yeah.
Oh, and when you would watch that, it would like, I remember the first time watching it in college, and I'm like, why did people film this, and why are we why we want to watch that?
Yeah, so for those that don't know, Faces of Death was like a series of videos or whatnot of real life deaths.
Yes,
that people recorded. Like I'm talking about everything from car accidents to
unaliving themselves.
Yeah, unaliving people and all of that, and themselves and all of that type of stuff. And
right.
I remember seeing that, and it's funny you bring that up because I was just talking to somebody yesterday about that. I was like, man, this is what it reminded me of. When we're being able to see these things, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, it's just crazy, man. It's just, but I'll go to answering your question, Mike. And I'm gonna be as real as I can be, on how we deal with these things and with our kids or whatnot. Man, the reality of it is, man, we got to stay in that word. If we're believers, we got to stay locked into that word and listening to that word so that we can know the things to say, the wisdom that it will bring us to say to our kids.
Yeah.
Because the reality of it is nobody gave us a handbook on how to raise kids.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? You can say you had the best parents in the world, but it was some things that they didn't do right.
Mm-hmm.
You can say you had the worst parents in the world, but it was some things that they did right.
Correct.
You know, nobody gave us a handbook on that, man. So I think that the greatest handbook is the Bible. I think if people and I'm talking to believers now, if you're not a believer, then you know I really don't know what to say to that. But I'm talking to believers in this aspect because that's where my faith lies, and
right.
that's the only thing that I know that is true. And so when you're, as a believer, when you're in that word and things of that nature, then you will find those nuggets of wisdom to teach your kids. Because the reality of it is when they're out there in the world, I mean, because it used to be like, man, don't man, he too young to know about that. Man, he too young to say that to him. But I've always been the person that, shoot, if you don't tell them, they gonna tell them.
Yeah.
They out there at school, and you have all of these different personalities, the way people are raised, and all types of different characteristics, and all of these things. He gonna get it from somewhere. She gonna get it from somewhere.
Yep.
And so it's best that you lead your household, and however it is that you lead them, and you tell them what your beliefs are, and what or how your household is dealing with those things. You know what I'm saying? Because man, is so much that influences these kids out there, man. And shoot, we just gotta do the best in doing it the way we know how to do it, man. And shoot, I was talking to somebody the other day, another coach, and you know, I was saying, you know, one of the things that, you know, why these kids act the way they do, well, shoot, they gonna model what us adults do.
Yeah.
And I'll be one of the first to admit, I've had a potty mouth before and all of that, but us out there cussing kids out and all of that type of stuff, man, that is not conducive to raising these kids. I mean, because that's basically what you're doing. You raising them because they're being influenced by every adult around them. And when we out there cussing these kids out, and man, you don't have to do that, man. Like it's a different way of reaching people other than cussing. Like I mean, shoot, and like I said, I'm not without reproach, because I've been there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But shoot, when you learn something, when you
know better,
when you know better, you do better.
That's what they say.
You know what I'm saying? And so,
well, they absorb everything. There's no doubt about that, man. I mean, but to that point, it's like walking through a grocery store and seeing a mom beat her little kid because he was beating up her brother. It's like, stop beating your brother as she's smacking him on the behind, like,
right.
It's like, what is he actually getting? But I mean, I'll lighten it up a little bit here. I mean, this week, in fact, I was getting my little guy ready for school. He's 2. And, I was like, come on, you got to put your shoes on. We got to go to school. And he looks at me and he's holding a dinosaur in his hand, and all he wants to do is play with the dinosaur. And I'm like, come on, Mikey, let's go. It's time for school. He looks at me and he's like, oh, man. And I was like, where did you learn that from? I'm like, I don't say that. And then I go to pick him up at my in-laws earlier or later on, and she had an Amazon package on the doorstep, and I was all wet. So I pick it up and I hand it to her. I was like, look, I guess it was sitting outside for a while. It's a little wet. She's like, oh, man.
Wow.
Like, now I know. Now I know where he's getting a lot of this from.
Right.
Not to throw her under the bus, but it's, they are little sponges.
Too late. Shout out to grandma.
Shout out to grandma, abuela. But yeah, they are very influenced by everything around them. And when you think about it, just taking yourself out of the life experience that you have and trying to put yourself in theirs, everything is new to them. Right. They only know what they've seen. And if it's for the first time and it resonates with them, they're going to repeat it. But, again, we live in a much different time. And, this information circulates the globe 10 times over before most people see it once. And again, like we talked about this before the show, this week is the 24th anniversary of 9/11. And, I'll share some of my experience on that day, because a lot of people ask me. I mean, I was a senior in high school in New York at the time. I knew a lot of people that, died that day. I knew, I had football coaches that died. He used to work in the trade center. He died that day. We had our biggest rival game was being played that week. It ended up getting canceled and rescheduled for another time in the season. Very emotional, but it was a time, again, before this information flowed that fast. So, for whatever reason, I won't get into the details, but we were in the auditorium as a school before anything happened, before anybody knew what happened. And nobody had cell phones, right? This is 2001. We had beepers, right? Like, you weren't getting beeped with all the news. And I had a friend who snuck out to the nurse's office to go watch TV because she had a TV in there, and he comes back with the news, and, nobody really believed it, but nobody else could verify it. Right. And we didn't understand the magnitude. And, for whatever good decision, bad decision, whatever it was, the school decided not to tell us right away for fear of panic, because everybody's father and brother and uncle and aunt and mom and grandma, they all work down there. So they decided not to tell us until several hours, maybe an hour or so after. And then they dismissed us. And again, we didn't have access to information, right? I was a senior. I had my car. I drove to school. I jumped in the car and I'm listening to everything I can on the radio, like just glued to it. And, people ask me all the time, like, what was it like? First of all, it was the quietest drive home I've ever had. There was not one horn that honked. Nobody was impatient. Everybody was just sort of nervous yet alert. But what I usually explain to people is not, obviously the tragedy of the day and everything that you're sort of absorbing, again, trauma that you're not supposed to sort of be privy to on a regular basis. It came as a shock. But there are certain things that happened after that I'll never forget, right? Several days after the incident, after you sort of understand who wasn't coming home and you're grieving and you're very upset, a plane flies over your head and you sit there for that extra second, you watch.
Wow.
Right? Like you're in the moment, you're alert. And it's not just you. You look around and other people are doing the same thing. You could be on the corner of, Broadway and Times Square, and you just waiting for the walk signal to turn green, and you just see everybody look up, right? Like, everybody sort of understood that we got to take that extra second. And, that's instinct. But it also brings back to what I was describing earlier. It puts you in a position to be alert of your surroundings to protect your four walls, right? Put yourself in a position to be that head of the household in order to make sure that the people who depend on you survive and they learn how to protect the future generations as well.
Right.
All this is in hindsight, right? Like, you don't plan these things. They just happen, and you sort of understand the ability to discuss and, communicate with it afterwards, just so that you can sort of make light and make sense of the best way to handle this. This is why we train, we practice. Again, I always alluded to game day as being sort of the dress rehearsal of everything that you've worked so hard for. And if you're not failing in practice in order to perfect it for the game, you're not practicing the right way. Practice, I always thought of practice as a punishment, right? As a player, right? I didn't think about it as a means of getting better and improving. That was always told to me. But you think I wanted to run varsities? You think I wanted to run suicides on the football field, on the basketball court? Like, that's torturous, man.
Right.
But at the end, again, now with experience, wisdom, understanding, I understand the value in that. And if you can understand that at an earlier age, it doesn't just help you on the field, man. It helps you in every aspect of life.
Right.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, that practice is it's a game changer. That's where you want to make your mistakes. And I think I talked about this before in other episodes, but mistakes aren't bad unless you keep making the same ones. That's the measurement of where you are, right? And in practice, you have to use everything that goes into practice. And I'm just going to use football for an example. You have to watch film. You have to know down and distance. You have to know the formations and what plays they run out of this. And John and I was blessed that we had a secondary coach and a defensive coordinator who understood all this. And he was able to teach it to us at a level that we understood. So I was just told this by Coach Meeks when we were playing against Abilene Cooper. They were doing something, and we needed to make a call so the linebacker can drop under, because on the backside they had me playing man. And I came up with a call and asked Coach if the linebacker could help me or whatnot. And it was just because of repetition on watching film, him breaking it down where I understand it, where now in practice we all understood. So when we got in the games, we'll see a formation. That's when the great anticipation came in. People saying, man, it's like he knew. I did know. We did know because we practiced it, right?
Yeah.
So
your name from now on is Coach Anticipation.
Well, that'll work, right? No different than what I've learned with coming on with John, and he alluded it earlier in the podcast, talking about he can't worry about everything else. So me coming in, I'm like, hey, what are we gonna do about this? What are we gonna do about this? This league is doing this. He was like, I can't worry about them. I only can worry about what we have control and the teams that we have control. And in our downtime, we're going to put in this work. We're going to do this, which I didn't understand, but it was for me to be a servant, get behind what he was talking about. And then all of a sudden, the momentum just propelled us like it was crazy, right? So in that downtime was the practice that when it come to the game time now, we were in positions to receive the benefits without even knowing what was coming, because in the downtimes we were practicing. So I don't even know if I took us way off on something else.
No, proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Well, we was propering in our preparation, baby.
Yeah, there you
go. Yeah, and you're not off base at all. I mean, I think what you described is more of an adjustment more than failing. Right? Like you weren't failing, you were preparing for something different. Failing and repeating the failure. I mean, this is something that we witnessed on Monday Night Football this past week with the Bears and the Vikings. I mean, the same offensive lineman, he had at least 4 false starts. I mean, you could have all the adjustments, all the schematics, all the blocking procedures you can imagine. But if the fundamentals of not even knowing the snap count or paying attention to the snap count, Like that's a mistake that is unexcusable, especially if you keep repeating it.
Yeah. Those call them repeat offenders. Repeat offenders, man. They kind of like the quote that you said, Coach A. Talking about one of the things that I like to tell people is, a mistake doesn't become an error until you refuse to correct it. And so, you can make all the mistakes in the world, but when you refuse to correct it and just, I mean, and it takes some people a little bit longer to pick up on things than it does others. However, if you refuse to correct it, then it becomes an error. That's when you just throwing stuff against the wall, see what sticks. You know what I'm saying?
This ain't spaghetti, baby.
Yeah. So, but that's that's my thoughts on that, man. But yeah, man, I think also, just to piggyback on all of these things that we're talking about, man, it's about rising up again, man, and keep going. Keep going. No matter how many times you get knocked down, man, get up. And like the verse says, get knocked down 7 times, get up 7 times.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not and this is gonna I'm gonna put this out there in the atmosphere, and it may not a lot of people might not like it, but
you sure?
Yeah, I promise you, man. But I think people need to hear this, man, because it's not guaranteed that you're gonna get, or the outcome that you are looking for is not guaranteed. The outcome that we look for is not guaranteed, man. We can be doing all the things right, or doing all the things that we know to do is right, and we still not get the outcome that we're seeking.
Right.
I think sports is the testament to that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And to what you said earlier, and I'm gonna that's brilliant, and I love it. But we don't watch film for the good things we do, right? We watch film to correct the mistakes that we make.
Yeah.
And even if you understand the mistake, it does not guarantee that it's going to work out the same way the next time. And I think that is a critical piece that people need to, understand. We can encourage kids to try hard because trying hard has rewards, but the reward is not necessarily the outcome that you desire. The reward is the path that you have to take and the lessons that you learn in that path
along the way. Yes.
And I think, again, sports is great for that because it is a platform that provides a specific set of rules that everybody agrees on, and whomever can execute or prepare better, generally speaking, has the better chance of the outcome. But any given Sunday.
Come on now.
Yeah, man. Shoot. And that's why we play the game.
Come on now. And I think it's very important. You also said some, I can't remember what exactly you said, but we have to go through some things. God has to take us through some things so that we can build our weakness, so that when he put us in a position, we're going to be ready.
Be ready to accept it.
Right. Because you don't know what you're able to do if you never been put in that position. Like, you have to go through some hard times to build up that strength. No different than when they are purifying gold. Like, I don't know much about it, but I know they have that block, and they are hitting that. So when they hitting it, the what's not gold, it's breaking off, or is it the steel? I'm not sure. It's one of those
steel. Yeah.
One of those materials, but they just hitting it, and what's not supposed to be there is breaking off. But without that pounding, you don't know. But then at the end, you have whatever it is that you need. That samurai sword, that machete, something that can be used as a tool that is meant for.
Yep.
So I'll bring up what I brought up earlier on. Without the fear of the outcome you don't want, we'll call it failure or losing. Without that fear, does winning have the same benefit or the same value?
Without the fear.
Without that fear of losing. Because this is, again, we say that the audience for this show is young athletes, parents, overall sports fans. This is extremely important for a parent to listen to. Everybody's not always a winner, right? Participation ribbons and all of these things that we've introduced where everybody's a winner. We're not going to keep score because we don't want kids to feel bad. This has such detrimental impacts later in life that perhaps have yet to be measured. But on the sheer surface of it, taking the sport of it, there's a reason why kids in sports shake hands after every game, right? Because we left it all on the field. And at the end, we're going to brag, we're going to have fun. But you know what? This was a competition. The competition was settled, at least for now. We're going to shake hands and we're going to go back and fix the things that we made mistakes on to potentially have a different outcome. That is the beauty of sport. But if everybody always wins, there is no fear of losing, and therefore there is no value in victory.
Right.
So I would I think of it a little bit different way. Just as I understand what you're saying without that fear. To me, I don't believe it's fear. I believe it's anxiety. And I'll tell you the difference that I think the difference is. Like a fear to me is like a clear and present danger. Like you walking down on the walking path or whatnot, and a cougar jumps out and you like, I believe that's a fear, a clear and present danger. Anxiety is what we have when we are worried about the unknown. We're worried about failing. We're worried about things that hadn't even happened yet. We're worried about all of these things that we shouldn't even be worried about, because if we are prepared in our preparation and we're focused, then the outcome, although it still may not be what you want, you will be prepared for whatever that outcome is. It's the anxiety that we have that causes us to not prepare. It's the anxiety that we have that causes us to shy away from, to quit. It's the anxiety that we have. It's just the unknown.
So when you talk about that, let's just talk about football since we're in the season.
Yeah.
We know a team is a lot better.
Yeah.
And you say we shy away from it. I'm not going to even try. I'm going to go out there and go through the motions because I potentially already know the outcome.
You think you know the outcome.
Because I haven't even put in an effort or whatnot.
Yes. Because you think you know the outcome. You think that team is better than you, and they look bigger and they look more prepared or whatnot. Yeah. And so that anxiety sets in. And so to answer your question though, Mike, is like, I think the way you combat that is by your preparation. Whether it's like we've talked about preparation in the summers and off season and all of those things, but it's also in real time preparation as well. I remember when we ran track, and it was track in football and all of that type of stuff. Like one thing that I used to do with the kids when I was coaching, well, I'm still coaching, but when I was coaching full time, one thing that I used to do is the day before the game when we had walkthrough, we'd be out there in just our helmets and shorts and stuff. We have walkthrough. Well, at the end of the walkthrough, everybody comes up to the huddle, and the coaches are talking to them and everything. One thing I used to do is I tell all the kids, close your eyes.
Yep.
I make them close their eyes, and then I talk to them and I tell them to picture themselves making plays, picture themselves getting that pick six and taking it back to the house. Just walk through it, frame by frame, walk through the play. You got your hand down on the ground, and then the ball is snapped, and you coming around the corner as a defensive end, and you strip sacking the ball from the quarterback. You got those are preparation tools as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's not always the physical preparation, but it's the mental preparation that you have to have as well. And so it's changing the way you think. It's changing the way you think. When you're going in there and you having this anxiety, the anxiety is coming from an unknown source. Like you don't even know what can happen. You don't even know, and that's why we have the underdogs and the ones that, man, we didn't know they was gonna win. How they do that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's just I believe that it's changing the way you think on having that anxiety versus fear.
That's great.
That's my opinion on that.
I think it summarizes everything we discussed, including the proverb, right? Because you're expected to make those failures during practice. And if practice and preparation leads to the abolishment of anxiety, then you practiced correctly, right? Now you can step on that field and that team could be 10 times your size and you can get curb stomped. But if you go into that game knowing that you're going to win, knowing that you replayed that model in your head all throughout the week, you made the mistakes already. You learned from those mistakes and you came out and you thought, hey, if we do this, we have a chance. I don't care who it is. Likelihood of achieving that outcome exponentially grows. But if you go in thinking these guys are better, they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger, I don't have a chance, I'm just going to go through the motions. That's when you have 4 false starts in a row. That's when you miss the block. That's when you get knocked down. That's when you go for that strip sack and you don't take into consideration that it might be a screen and you blew an assignment. That's where you make the mistakes in real time that cost you the outcome that you were looking for.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Man, that's great stuff. Quick story before we have to sign off. Coach Norm was talking about the mental preparation and in practice. And I also think that not only you have to put those kids like in the moment. When I was a coach at Midland Trinity, I was going on a state run, and the whole year I would play this song, "We Are Champions." And the kids, the whole school would start singing it. And I would take them into in the halftime, and during practice, I would shut the lights off and I would play motivational videos, and I would have them just listen to the Rocky, and they talk about that. And then all of a sudden we go to the game and I tell them, like, we're playing Baytown. They are bigger than us and they are faster. But the way I prepare them is that it's supposed to be cold and raining. So I ruined 4 footballs. I made my quarterback soak their hands in ice cold water, dip the ball in there, and we were throwing. And they was like, "Coach, why are you doing this?" I said, "In the event that we have to do this, y'all prepared.
Y'all prepared for it."
And I'll be dang, we went down there. It got so cold that the head ref left.
What?
He left. It was that cold.
Hey, I'm out.
we were put in that position in practice that the team was just on all cylinders.
Yeah.
When we went in at halftime, you don't go in halftime and get warm. Why? Because you're not going to want to come out.
You ain't gonna want to.
Hey, let's go in. I made them bring 2 jerseys, come out of different jerseys, dry.
So you dry.
We got on the field. Baytown was taking all day to get out. And at the end of the game, we won. We went to state, and the coach said, "Hey, coach, what did you do?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, coach, we prepared like months ago for this."
Yeah.
He said, "So what do you do?" I said, "Mentally, physically, I knew we can hang, but if we can be stronger mentally, we're just gonna beat y'all."
Yeah.
He said, I couldn't have gave any of my players $500 to make them come back out. I knew we lost the game. So it's important that you do those mental things like that so the kid can see the success. And then when they be placed in that position, they've already been there.
Yeah.
Anticipation.
Well, and that's part of the preparation, right? You talked earlier about adjustments. There's adjustments and there's preparation.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point. But I'll ask you guys. You guys again both played at a level that only most of us can dream of getting to. Did you guys ever get mad at the scout teams during practice for trying too hard or trying to make you look bad?
No, we used to be,
man.
Hey,
That was a big problem where I played, because the scout team was designed to be the dummies, right? Like the guys that run the other team's offense. They weren't designed to try to show you up. And I always took a different approach on that. I always wanted them to make me look bad, because, again, where I fail, I learn.
Right.
But I wanted to ask, like, when you get to levels like, you're a guaranteed starter. There's no doubt about your position being in jeopardy. Practice comes along. You get a Rudy-like figure who's just going to go 150% on a random Tuesday, practice, makes you look bad, gets you in trouble with the coach. Did you ever play with guys that really took that personally and had an issue with that?
Go on and tell them how we had to do.
Well, I remember being on the other end of it, like being on the scout team. Like as freshmen, when we came into Texas Tech, like we had that mentality, because I really truly believe this. In high school, like we were so dominant that like we loved going out there and competing.
Yes,
we loved, like, if it was a younger cat that came in or whatnot and he was doing well or whatnot, because that's what we did when we were younger. We came in as sophomores and was starting and all of that type of stuff on the varsity.
Yeah.
And so when we were the older ones, like we embraced that.
Yeah.
We wanted those younger guys to come in there and give us all you got, because shoot, when we trying to accomplish a goal all together, right? And it's not going to be easy. And so for us to go out there and just go through the motions, like that is what that is what I didn't like, just going through the motions, like kind of like you said. So even in college, when we got to college, man, we was doing the same thing. We had that mentality coming in as freshmen. We like, shoot, we out here, we trying to take somebody's job.
Yeah, so I'm finna make you look bad.
Finna make you look bad.
And we did.
And we did.
Did they get upset by it?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't matter at that point. Like our mindset was just totally different. Like, I need your position, so I'm running scout, so I need to show the coach that you can't cover me.
Yes.
And in the event that we doing this, jumping over the guys' heads, catching the balls on their back, they like, we might need to move y'all over to receiver.
Yep.
Or y'all need to move these two that's in front of us back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And move them out. And then so I think that's why I think the mentality was different when we became the older ones.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When we were the upperclassmen, shoot, we wanted them to come in and give that work. You know what I'm saying? Because I know we did it.
Yeah, but I do know, and I'm not sure for all programs, even at Lee when we played, we went first team against first team.
Yeah.
And when I was a sophomore, John, Corey, and Fred, they were on defense. So I'm running the ball as I'm coming around the corner. These guys are trying to take my head off, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of practice, when we go and watch film, we're going to laugh about it.
Yeah.
And then the next year, I'm on the defensive side, and if we have to run scout, like we were competing. Like it was one-on-one that they had to tell us, hey, y'all, stop hitting.
Yeah, they had to tell us to say, hey, back off, like, because we don't want to get nobody hurt.
Oh, my cousin
before
John
the game
coming around that corner, he's our only quarterback. We were trying to light his box because we trying to show you guys these underclassmen has the same right as you upperclassmen.
Yeah.
And when I mean, it was on and popping. And same thing in college. We were going one-on-ones with the starters. I mean, the first team. So that level of competition, like when you go in the film and be like, oh, he burnt you. You know, you knew after practice or before practice, you was gonna get shown out on film. I don't know if they do that now.
I don't know, because I hadn't been in that scene.
Well, that's different. Like that actually shows some of the differences. And again, Texas football is a religion, right? Like I don't know how else to describe it. Growing up in New York, it's important. It's big. I'm not going to deny the size of it, but it's definitely not as I guess structured as it is in Texas. That being said, I guess my experience and what my comment was with respect to the scout team is a little different because we had a lot of guys that were number one squad on both sides of the ball, right? So you couldn't really pin one versus one. We had our offensive sessions, we had our defensive sessions, and we had our scout teams. And our scout teams were now no slouches. I'm not discrediting them at all, but they definitely weren't the guys that are going to lay out those big hits on you. And in a way, for good or for bad, however you want to, I guess, prepare the program, the number one guys wouldn't go all out on the scout team either, right? Like they wouldn't take the kid who has zero chance of seeing the light of day on the field. They wouldn't take his head off just because they could. They would do it in a way so that it helps improve him, his ability to do whatever he's trying to do. But again, it's a different mentality. It's a different program. It's a different frame of the way football is sort of operated. And I've come to learn that working with you guys here and what, value football has. But I really, as much as I love having guests on this show, I love the fact that three of us can get together every now and then and just sort of bat some of this around. I think today's episode was amazing. We touched on a lot of stuff, some deep stuff. And then again, we bring it back to where we can really make sense of a lot of this stuff, which is on the field. And, there's a lot of lessons that we're still learning that happen on the field that we can apply to our lives. And a lot of that has to come with patience. And a lot of that has to come with, again, focusing on improving yourself, making sure you're the best person that you could be for you so that other people can be and trust in that person as well. And that goes with football. If you're focused on what somebody's doing across the field and not focused on your job, that person across the field can't trust that you're doing your job. Right. They need to trust that, just like you need to trust that they're doing their stuff. So that being said, we are a couple weeks into the Power 5 football season. All roads are leading to Lubbock, and that's exciting. And we're going to follow this journey along the way. We're going to have some special guests on throughout the course of the season, and we're going to really build up that hype leading up to Texas Tech because that is an enormous opportunity that I really hope that these kids understand, which is sort of that light at the tunnel that they're fighting for. Make those mistakes, get them out of the way. Game day is going to determine who's going to be on that field up in Lubbock.
Absolutely, man.
Looking forward to it.
It's gonna be an awesome season, man. We've already had a great start to the season, man. Not a lot of complaints like we had from last year. You know what I'm saying?
Smooth sailing.
Yeah, so far. But we do know those obstacles will come, and we just do our best to be prepared for those things.
Right.
And on another note, man, our volleyball league, we about to kick that off at the end of this month. We doubled, I believe more than doubled the amount of girls that we had last year. So we got 7 teams this year. So we're gonna be rocking and rolling with that, and gonna try to have a great season for those girls as well, man. That's out there playing volleyball. So a lot of big things coming, man. We got the AYF All-Star registration is coming up in a couple of days. That we're gonna have to get those 10U, 12U All-Star teams.
Get them ready, huh?
Get them ready to go to Florida, man. And so man, we got a lot of big things happening, man, and I'm excited about it. And we just gonna keep rocking and rolling. And like 2020, I said this at the beginning of the year. 2025 was finna be a huge year. I just felt that in my spirit. But I'm gonna tell you, man, 2026 about to be better. It's like, man, it's going to a whole nother level.
Let me put my seatbelt on and just ride, Clyde.
So
I threw this back up here because, like you said, there weren't a lot of complaints or a lot of issues with the first couple weeks of the season. And that's because a lot of the mistakes happened in the years past, and those mistakes were fixed. And we're expecting the outcome, or we're getting the outcome that we expect. And that's a tribute to the program that is put together within everybody involved with Power 5, particularly the red couch occupants in front of me.
Appreciate you. Hey, but Ops guy, you have to also take a lot of that credit, man. I don't know if people really understand how much you do for Power 5 on the back end with the website, and man, just your professionalism and the way you conduct yourself and the manner and the timingness that you have to get things working right. Like it's so professional, and that's one thing that people can say when you go to the website. That's a plug. That it's a user friendly website. It's easy. Whatever you want, whatever you need, any questions you have, it's on there. And if there's anything that's wrong, it gets fixed fast. But it's very rarely that it is. So kudos to you, my man.
Appreciate that. Yeah, standings and results are sort of updated as fast as we can get them up there. And there's so much going on with Power 5. It's really hard to sort of coordinate and make sense of a lot of that stuff. And, we try to make it as user-friendly as possible. And obviously we're open to suggestions. If people have any comments, any ideas about how they want to navigate through that kind of thing. Again, I think that, we've sort of proven that we're open to those type of suggestions in order to keep improving and keep fixing, things that, we know that we can easily, make a little bit better. But yeah, shout out to you two as the coaches and the coordinators and the commissioners of the leagues. Shout out to Coach Sam for everything that's going on with volleyball. Right. We got a lot of great things heading into the fall season for Power 5. Personally, I'm super pumped for where Lubbock is going to be on the horizon. And then obviously regionals up in Vegas. And then of course, coming down to the swamp here in Florida. And that's really where West Texas gets reintroduced to the national scene as a powerhouse in football. And that foundation has been laid. Now it's just a matter of consistency, because I want that team in Illinois to look at that schedule and say, I don't want to play them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be on and crack-a-lack.
Well, another great episode as always, gentlemen. For all other information, please refer to the Power 5 Sports League website. And if you want to share this podcast, share some clips, be sure to follow and like us on the YouTube channel. That way you can get a little notification when we pump out that next one. And then obviously, reach out to Coach Norman, reach out to Coach A if you're interested about being a guest on the show. We've had some great guests before, athletes, parents, coaches. This is not all about us. It's about all of us. And I think hearing a lot of stuff from different perspectives, not just in the league, but in life in general, hearing your take on the proverb that we're covering that week and really how that translates into your family morals, your values. I mean, we're husbands, we're dads, we're players, we're coaches. We're all swimming in the same pool here. And it's great to listen and learn from each other. And we start every podcast by thanking God about how much we're blessed. I'm blessed to be a part of this ecosystem with you guys, because I learn a lot. And it helps me be a better husband and dad when the cameras are off. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Same here, man. Right. We appreciate you, and man, we just thankful that we're in the position that we're in now. And we're just ready to keep moving forward and keep blossoming.
KOP.
And helping as many people as we can, man.
Overcome calamity. Well, everybody, again, it's been a rough couple of weeks around this country. Try to stay off the social media and give your family a hug. That's really one of the best remedies to this whole situation that you can focus on. And pray, however you do that, talk to somebody that you can rely on. And in most cases, that's Jesus Christ. If it's not, whomever it may be, but find and seek that wisdom, because again, you need that outlet somewhere. Until then, wish you guys all the best. Have a great weekend of football in the Power 5 ecosystem, and go fantasy teams.
There you go. I won mine. Yes, with Xavier Worthy getting hurt.
Oh, dude, I'm not playing. It takes too much time.
Love y'all, man.
We'll get you in there. Take care, guys.